Okay, so today we're going to talk about drums and rhythm in general. Now, rhythm is an essential part of any genre of music. So we are going to basically explore the basics of how drums work in order to understand rhythm. And we're going to do this in context of digital music production. So that is why we are going to create drum loops using step sequencer and piano roll. Now, if you're using Cakewalk and Studio One and even BandLab, this is pretty much this is pretty much how both step sequencer and piano roll look like. Well, unfortunately, GarageBand on Mac doesn't have a step sequencer, but the one on the iPad does. So if you have an iPad and a GarageBand installed on your iPad, I would suggest that um, go ahead and use that. Okay. Now, before we jump in, I just want to talk a little bit about how drum works, because it's important to be able to understand how a drummer plays when we create a drum pattern digitally. If we don't, we are going to end up creating a loop that doesn't have rhythm in it. It would just be a random noise that is not very enjoyable to listen to. Okay, so in drums, there are three basic sounds that you're going to work with. And the first one is a hi-hat. Hi-hat has the highest frequency in terms of pitch, and its job is to keep time or pulse. Now, the second one is snare. Snare pretty much is the loudest frequency in a drum set, and its job is to give accents on certain beats. And the last one is the kick. And kick occupies the lowest frequency, and its job is to create a sense of rhythm in it. Now I'm going to demonstrate how these three works when we create a drum loop. Now if we go to Cakewalk here, and I'm in the step sequencer mode or view right now, and you can pretty much switch between piano roll and step sequencer just by clicking the view menu right here. And you can pretty much switch well, anyway, okay, so the role of the hi-hat is to keep the pulse. Now, by this, I mean when you create your hi-hat pattern, you need to make sure that it's in you need to make sure that it is in constant beat to keep the time. It's like a clock ticking. Now, visually, you would need to see equal spaces in between those notes that you put into the step sequencer or the piano roll. Now, right now, um, I'm going to put equal spaces in between these notes. Right now, there's three blocks of spaces in between these notes. And this is called the quarter notes. Okay, so let's just review on that a little bit. Okay, so this is called like a rhythm subdivision. A quarter note is there's one note per beat. If you have 4 beat in 4/4, that means there's like 4 beats, and each beat you will have a note. Okay, so this is a quarter note and 8 notes. You just have to put a note in between those 4 notes. Right now, as you can see, there's still equal spaces in between these notes. So I don't do that or do that. So now there's not an even space there. So you wouldn't have a pulse if you do that. Okay, so and then 16th, basically you just um, fill all these notes, because if you have like if you count the 4 times 4, it's 16, right? So that's 16th note there. Okay, for now, we're just going to work with 8 notes. Okay, so let's create 8 notes. All right, so the job of a hi-hat is to create a sense of, time or pulse. Okay. Now for snare, Typically, sorry about that. There you go. Typically, snares are put in the second beat and the fourth beat. And that's typical position of a snare. It accents the second and fourth to in order to make a certain feel of a certain rhythm. Okay, so it's just very basic. So and obviously you can kind of explore this a little bit, and you can kind of create a bit of variation in when you're doing this. Okay, for now I'm just going to go with the basic. 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So right now, it's accenting the second and the fourth beat. Okay. Let's move on to kick. Now, kick will create rhythm if we put them on certain positions. So typically, for like basic drum beat, you would put it in beat 1 and 3 like this. So you'll have all right, now you have like a very basic idea of the rhythm now. Okay. Now if we move the kick somewhere over here, now as long as, so you can pretty much put it anywhere, as long as you have enough repetition to make it to create a sense of like rhythm in it, that would be totally fine. So right now I'm moving it a little bit just over here by the snare. See, as long as it has repetition, it's going to create a kind of sense of a rhythm in it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let me see if there's anything that we did not touch on. Okay, so yeah, so basically when you're creating a drum pattern, uh, just make sure that when you listen to it, it has a steady beat, like the hi-hat for here, like right here, and then like appropriate amount of accent. So like this is not appropriate. That's just that would be stupid because you don't want to do that. You want to have, you know, you want people when you listen to the groove, you want them to, yeah, move a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you can't move your body to that. Okay, nobody's going to enjoy that. All right. So, as I said before, you can kind of you can come up with like different variations in here, and you can, yeah, just explore like different rhythms, and you can kind of like listen to your favorite music and listen to the drums and try to replicate the sound of that drum for like when you for practice purposes. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it for today. So if you need help with your DAW, if you if you're confused on like where to find uh, the step sequencer mode in your DAW, let me know. And for now, as I said before, if you're using Mac or GarageBand on Mac, you're not going to find a step sequencer, which is kind of weird. The ones on the iPad has it, but the one on the Mac doesn't have it because that's just weird. Okay, so Anyway, after you finish this video, I need you to go on Google form that I sent on the chat and just and do the quiz. Just make sure that you actually understand what we're talking about today. So, okay, so on Thursday we are going to make a drum loops together. Okay, so we will have a Google Meet, and then we are going to work on it then. All right. So today there's no assignment for you today. Just watch this video and do the quiz. All right.